Welcome to the Real Talk Sports Show. I'm your host, the Minister Jonathan Simmons, and we're very thankful to those of you who are watching us here on various platforms. And we also want to welcome those of you who have transferred over from Facebook, because as it has been reported, the facts are true. The minister has been banned from Facebook. That's right, guys. We've been kicked off from Facebook. We did something. We're not sure what we did. We've been trying to get back on, but we have been temporarily removed. So we have asked one of our other supporters to go on and make sure that you guys have the link to switch over to YouTube. We appreciate you. We also appreciate those of you who always watch this on the replay. I know a lot of you guys can't tune in on Tuesdays, and I notice a lot of you guys jump in after the fact the next day and so forth. So again, we want to thank you so much for doing that, and we want to welcome you here to the show. We also want to do a little housekeeping to let you guys know how you can find out more about us. It's very, very simple. Follow the show on social media anywhere. We're on Real Talk Sports, the number 7. There it is right there. Bam, on your screen. Real Talk Sports 7. You see it right there. Follow us anywhere on social media. That's Instagram. That's Twitter. That is all spots. We're actually on TikTok as well. So please check us out on all those platforms. Real Talk Sports, the number 7. If you want to follow me personally, you can follow me at Minister J Sim. You can see that right there. There you go, Minister J Sim. And here's the other cool thing. You can be a part of the show. If you have a great sports topic, or if you have somebody doing something great in the community, please contact us. Send me an email, jsimmons@realtalksports.net, or simply give us a call or text at 678-410-9833. Well, when we do this show, we don't do it alone. We always bring on some wonderful people. First of all, we bring on one of the most beautiful ladies on all of sports talk radio or TV. We just call her the Queen. Tree Dolman is back in the building. Tree, welcome back.
Hello, everyone. Hi, Jonathan.
What's up? What's up? What's going on?
Oh, my goodness. So much. As you know, it's May. It is Brain Cancer and Brain Tumor Awareness Month. So I will be wearing gray all month long, like I always do. But yeah, so many things going on.
Well, we will let you talk about all of those things. And there's some great stuff. Hang on. I'm not sure what this is.
No, that's,
hold on 1 second.
That's me.
Oh, okay. That's you getting queued up. Okay, there you go. It's all good.
I've been trying to get on my computer.
All right, no worries. Let's go ahead here. And also, when we bring on the Queen, we also like to bring on a champion. He's not a one but two-time Super Bowl champion. He is also a member of the Fort Valley State Sports Hall of Fame. And he's an all-around nice guy. The one and only number 38, Tyrone Poole, is back in the building. Mr. Poole, welcome back, sir. All right, let's get you off the mute there. Hold on. Let's see here. Oh, you have to unmute yourself, sir. It won't let me do it.
Okay, there we go.
There he is, Tyrone Poole.
I hope everybody's doing well. Appreciate it. Hello, Tree. I got on my gray as well. I don't think Jonathan got the memo, so he didn't get the memo. Wear gray. So, yeah. I hope everybody's doing well.
All right. Well, good news. Here's what I'm going to do. You guys are going to take over for me for a second because I am not going to be caught out not following the protocol. I do have a little gray in my tie, which you can't see, but hang on. I'm going to do a wardrobe adjustment in just a minute. Tyrone and Tree, take on over on the Real Talk Sports Show. I'll be right back.
I know he got to go. He got to check his memo. He's good at sending out information, but maybe not good at receiving. But, yeah, we're gonna go ahead and jump right on into this thing. We're gonna talk about the Atlanta Braves. I'm looking at the Braves. I'm looking at all of Major League Baseball, and really the top two teams that I'm looking at that are the power rankings for the Major League Baseball. The Tampa Bay Rays. They are doing phenomenal. They're the number one ranked team, and the Atlanta Braves are number two, and the number three team is the Blue Jays. So we're going to talk about the Braves, and a lot of good things they're actually playing right now, but the Braves are where we expected. Ronald Acuna Jr., he's been talked about as far as the MVP already. I know it's too early in the season right now, but to have someone named mentioned as a candidate, you got to be happy about that. So there are a lot of great things that the Braves are doing. Again, it's a long season tree. There are going to be some ups and downs, but I think they have enough talent, enough wisdom from the players and the coaching staff to weather any storm. And I do believe that the Braves will be competing, hopefully, for another World Series. So that's my observation from my end of the spectrum. What are you seeing, and what do you like about the Atlanta Braves?
Yeah, I agree with you. I love that you're already hearing Braves being mentioned for MVP, even though it's early, but that just goes to show the caliber of the type of players that we have on our roster. And I also think that they will be vying for the World Series again. I think that the Braves are doing great things, and their roster is key. And I won't be surprised to see them, and I think they definitely have a shot at winning the World Series again. That would be great, right?
I think it'll be fantabulous. Well, I don't know if you guys talked about this or mentioned it or not. You can see now, guys, I have my gray sport coat on, and I have my matching pocket square. Let's see if you guys see that a little bit there. There's the pocket square. You can see it. Bam!
Oh, the purple tie. Yay!
That's what I'm talking about, a purple tie, because why? The Purple Diva is supporting this, and so we want to make sure we had all the colors popping on the Real Talk Sports Show. That's how we do it, doggone it. Well, hey, now I'm gonna ask you a question, both of you guys a question. Okay, so the thing that's been buzzing around Atlanta, speaking of the Braves, is once again Braves playing the Miami Marlins, and Ronald Acuna is hit and actually is going to be out. So everybody keeps asking the question: is this, number one, is it something against Acuna because he kind of does a little two-step going around the bases? Number one, is there retaliation for that? And if so, should the Braves go old school and the Snicker tells the pitcher, "Hey man, next time out, you go ahead and retaliation"? So what do you guys think? Number one, is it just like a fluke thing? Hey, we trying to get the guy off the plate, or is it because he is kind of showboating? And either way, should the Braves manager say, "Hey, we're not gonna have that. We're gonna retaliate"? What do you guys think?
I'll let Tree. You want to handle? You can go first.
Well, I will say I don't believe in retaliation, so I'm gonna have to say no with the retaliating, but I'm not really sure with that. I mean, that's going to be a call that the manager will have to make with what's going on, but I'm not a fan of retaliation.
I remember, what do you think? You should get a little inside fastball or maybe a little curveball on the backside. What do you think?
Really, to be honest with you, questions like this, I'm like, really? I'm like, I know it's good for the fans and everything. And you know, back in the day, yes, maybe you see somebody showboating or whatever, but come on, let's face the facts. This is a new day in media. Everybody, even yourself, even myself, Tree, anybody who's watching, we're all doing something to get attention. So I don't think that, you know, moving your bat, swagging your bat, and you know all that stuff. You know, I think it's a rhythm that athletes go through to prepare themselves, to bring themselves back into, okay, these are the steps that I got to go through so that I stay on point. You look at the NBA, you got some players, they dribble the ball 3 times, spin it 3 times, squat 3 times, and then shoot it. Would you call that showing off? No, I just think basically, it's just something that every athlete does to get themselves mentally prepared. And, you know, so if you're looking for something, say, oh, yeah, that's the reason why he did that. That's why he got, no, man. I think it's just a part of his regimen. And just like what Deion said, when they played Alabama State, the head coach was talking about from Alabama State, saying that Deion ran on their side of the 50 and their sideline. Deion said, I did that even when I was playing. I did a lap around the field. So again, it's to me, it's the perspective of the person. And I just think, from my perspective, being an athlete, you know, he has to do something to get himself in the rhythm. And I'm pretty sure, Jonathan, you do something. You probably don't realize it, but there's something that you do every time to get yourself in the rhythm so you go out and do it. So now, if this is something that Ronde Acuna was doing just for this particular picture, then yes, I may say, okay, hey, you know what? Maybe he's trying to like whatever. But if this guy's been doing this and this is his rhythm, that's his rhythm, man. That's how you get himself in the game.
Well, bottom line is that I think that the Braves might start to go old school, man. They might have to go ahead and say, okay, man, act like you got shades on. You can't see too good and throw that curveball. Ping! Hit them. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, the reason why I mention this is because the 2 managers that have done this have both been for the Miami Marlins, both of them former Yankees. The Showalter was a Yankee manager and Don Mattingly was a Yankee player. Both guys come from the old school camp, and that's how they roll. So I'm like, okay, no problem. You're gonna do that. We're gonna protect our guy. You know, if that's how you want to do it, no problem. Next time your star player goes out, we're gonna whiz one right behind his backside, or we're gonna hit him. And again, we're not trying to hurt anybody, but we're gonna get a little payback on this, because if we don't, at some point, the guy's gonna get hurt to the point we can't play in a game, and we can't have that.
Again, I don't think that. I think the Atlanta Braves, number one, I think they are a first class organization, and it's certain things that first class organizations. I don't care what somebody's doing, you're not going to retaliate like that. I consider the Braves a first class organization. So unless it's something that's deliberately, then yes, you have to defend the house. But if it's something that, hey, somebody's trying to pull you into something, see, to me, that's what people who don't have a strong mentality get pulled into. You see stuff like that, you get pulled into. It's just like playing sports. Somebody talk junk to you, somebody say something to you, and if you're weak-minded enough to pull you into it, then you get what you get. But the Atlanta Braves, they're the second best team in the Major League Baseball. So I'm like, why would you actually, being an Eagle, fly down to a lower level of someone else? So I I understand where you're coming from, but I don't think the Braves would look at it like that. Now, I don't know the mindset of the other teams, but I don't think the Braves, I think they are a first-class organization, and they won't get pulled in to anything like that.
Well, I'm hoping that they go ahead and plunk them, because that's how baseball is. I mean, you just can't have your star player constantly being hit. And see, if it was just a random thing, but this is a continual thing by the Marlins. They've hit them like multiple times. I'm like, okay, man, if this is how you're gonna play like this, no problem. We can do that, but y'all about to get hit. I'm just thinking, man, the guy's got to take care of himself. The Braves, they got to take care of the players. Let me see if I can go ahead and get a clip of the Ronald Acuna home run and what might have gotten them kind of sideways. Let me kind of go to the videotape here and see if we can pull it up for you. And what it was, so you guys don't know, it was just a home run trot. You know, he always kind of does the double step and around the bases, and they just weren't feeling it. So let's see if we can kind of take a look here at this situation right here. Let's see if we can get the screen popped up here, and you guys can take a look at it and you can tell me what you think yourself. Let's see if I can go ahead and do that. I'll click the screen icon. I will certainly do that when I pop it up. Let's go ahead and see if I can get that screen popping. And of course, it won't work. And that's the way it is because I want to show it. It's just going to act a fool. That's okay. No worries. Bottom line is when you guys get a chance, you can Google it up. Just look at the home run trot and you will see, like I say, he does what he normally does. And again, you see, Tyrone, you're on the head. This is a different day. And I have to explain this to a guy on my job who, he kind of feeling some kind of way. Say, man, athletes celebrate too much and this and that. And I said, well, Hop, listen, I understand you're a former military guy. I understand you grew up in an era in the 60s where they say, hey, act like you've done it before you score a touchdown. I get that. I said, but it's a different day. So you got to keep in mind during the pandemic, the league actually had like jumbotrons on the field so guys could queue up and kind of do the routine on the field. I mean, that's just the way it is. The younger guys, they want to celebrate, and actually celebration has been going on for a long time. Every bit of 20 or 30 years with guys doing bat flips, guys, kind of doing the slow motion walking around. Reggie Jackson used to kind of do his own way, kind of gumming around. That's back in the 70s. So I'm just saying that some of these guys like Showalter and some of these old school managers, they got to tighten up. And if the Braves can't, if they're not going to do anything, then they should say something to the league because you can't just get your star player keep getting hit, especially by the same team. That's all I'm saying. I mean, somebody's got to say something. It's not right.
Yeah, if it's something that's happening with the same team and it's happening to the star player, then that definitely seems like they're doing it intentionally. I still don't think that the answer is retaliation. You just report the team, and I'm sure that people will look at it. But retaliation, I don't think is ever the answer.
Well, we shall see which way it will go. Not sure, like I said again, but I do think something should be said to the league one way or another. Well, guys, listen, don't go anywhere because we got to let somebody else say something. That's the people that help support this broadcast. You are watching and listening to the Real Talk Sports Show. We'll be back in just a moment. Don't go nowhere, please. Thank you.
Did you know that Allen Vigil Ford in Morrow, Georgia also has Lincoln? Over 35 years of using the Vigil Touch to provide excellent customer service, works hand in hand with the Lincoln Motor Company to provide a luxurious and seamless way to acquire your next luxury vehicle. Lincoln has an array of full-service complimentary owner benefits. These benefits include hospitality partnerships, service pickup and delivery, all which can be accessed through the Lincoln Way app. You can even contact the 24/7 concierge to have someone assist you. Come and see our great inventory of new and pre-owned Lincolns today. Call 678-364-7345 to make an appointment with one of our brand champions or shop 24/7 online at allenvigillincoln.net.
And we are back. You're watching and listening to the Real Talk Sports Show. I'm your host, Minister Jonathan Simmons. Right next to me is the Super Bowl champion, two-time champion, Tyrone Poole. And right beneath us both is the Queen, Tree Dolman. And our man, Todd, from off of social media. Tree, read that for us, please. I know Todd is saying something.
Todd says, Braves manager should go visit Mets manager at supper time and give a come to Jesus meeting.
Oh, Todd's thinking we can settle this outside. We need to call MLB or nothing. Let's get the old school manager in there, get him a little punch up over here, and we get it all straightened out. Well, Todd, I don't think that Snitker is going to do that. He's not that kind of guy. But I tell you, Buck Showalter, he would probably do it. Yeah, Showalter, I seen him when he managed the Yankees, and he was one of them scrappy little players, and he would be all for a little dust up between him and Snitker. But again, I think Snitker falls into the category that Tyrone says that he wants to remain a class act and will not get involved with any fisticuffs with any other manager for any reason. So, Todd, appreciate you, bro, but I don't think Snitker is our man that's going to do anything like that. All right, let's shift to a little basketball. NBA playoffs in full throttle. And really, we kind of got like the rivalry games. If you look in the East, we got two old-time rivals from back in my day, the Philadelphia 76ers and the Boston Celtics squaring off again. And from maybe both of you guys' days, from back in the 90s, early 2000s, the Miami Heat against the New York Knickerbockers. So we got some old school rivalry there popping back up again. So staying in the East, who do you guys think is going to come out of those series? Tree, you first. Who do you like? Miami versus New York, and who do you like? Philadelphia versus Boston.
Well, with Miami versus New York, I like Miami better, but I think that it all depends on if Jimmy Butler can stay healthy. He just shows a different type of playing in the playoffs. I mean, he's always a great player, but it's, how some players, they just turn it on when it comes to that championship time. And I think that he's that kind of caliber player. So if he can stay healthy, and I know he's not playing tonight, but if he can play the rest of the series, I definitely choose Miami. I think that the New York Knicks are a great team, but I pick Miami to beat them. And then with the Philadelphia 76ers playing against the Boston Celtics, I'm not going off of game one, right? I was actually shocked that Joel Embiid, which congratulations to him for winning the MVP of the NBA this year, but
All right, the queen temporarily froze.
I
So
was game
Tyrone,
one.
oh,
I
back.
do
There she is.
not
There she
think
is.
that will continue to happen. So I think that with that series, I'm going to choose the Boston Celtics. I think that they will rebound and come back and win.
Tyrone Poole, what do you think? Heat and New York and Boston and the Sixers. Who you like?
New York, Miami, Boston, and Philadelphia. I'm gonna go with Boston. Boston, they basically have been the class act all season. You know, they played well all season, regular season, and they're still doing it in the playoffs. You know, they closed out Atlanta, 3-1, and actually just to show you their attitude, they felt like it shouldn't have gone, that extra game. So again, not only did they play with that attitude during the season, they still had that attitude based off of last year's performance. They feel like, hey, they are due. So I'm going to go with the 76ers all the way. I'm saying I'm done. So, I switched up on it quick, huh? But yeah, I'm going with the Celtics, all the way through. And I even like the Celtics when Larry Bird was there. And I'm gonna say this, okay? People don't give Larry Bird enough credit, man. They don't give Larry Bird. If Larry Bird was black, and I'll say it, if he was black, man, look here, they be all over Larry Bird. But I recognize game when I see game. And Larry Bird, man, that dude there, boy, I'm telling you. Even when the Hawks and Dominique and them used to go play the Celtics, I said, whoop, man, look at here. Dominique and them finna go out in the first round. And I'm pretty sure when Dominique and Doc Rivers and them saw they had the Celtics, drew the Celtics in the first round, they're like, man, let's just give them our best, man. But seriously, Larry Bird, man, yeah, man, love him to death, man. He's in my top 3.
You don't think people give him enough credit? That's interesting.
Yeah, I don't think they give him enough credit. I'm like,
I always hear about how great he is. I mean, Larry Bird, one of the best, hands down, which is why I don't like the Celtics because of the rival between my Detroit Pistons and the Boston Celtics, which was against Larry Bird. He just, he's one of those great players, and it was just like he just did not miss. So I just think that's amazing, and people definitely need to give him his credit because he's definitely one of the greats to ever play the game.
And I'm gonna tell you the reason why I actually just solidified my thoughts about Larry Bird. Somebody put up a nice video that talked about Michael Jordan. Nothing against Michael Jordan, everybody put him on top of the mountain. But Isaiah Thomas, I think Isaiah Thomas brought it up. Jordan never beat them. Jordan never beat the Celtics. But you see where Larry Bird just had overall a round game, shooting, scoring, passing, rebounds. I'm like, so to me, Larry Bird, if they have to say who is a GOAT or should be considered, Larry Bird, man. I'm like, Larry Bird. I'm like, you can't beat a man until you beat the man. But of course, everybody gonna say, well, that's when Michael was young, and really when Scottie Pippen came along, that's when the Bulls started Jordan got his Batman and Robin, so to speak. And of course, they had Phil Jackson, but up until then, man, Boston Celtics, they were handing Michael Jordan their exit every year. So, but yeah, I don't think Larry Bird gets enough credit.
Well, it's funny you mentioned Tyrone, because ever since the last, I'd say 2 years, especially on TikTok, Larry Bird is trending. If you go on now, that's the one thing. A lot of guys are falling in your category that, hey, man, Larry Bird was kind of like the quiet assassin. They talked about the fact one of the biggest things on TikTok is the number of former players say, hey, man, that dude was like a cold-blooded assassin, number one. They said, number two, he talked more trash on the court than anybody. They said Bird would just wear you out. And he said the way he did it was he was so cold, is that what Bird used to do is that he would talk trash like this. Hey, man, hey man, now you know it's the last minute game. You know I'm gonna get the ball, right? Here's I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go over here. I'm gonna do a drop step. I'm gonna spin up behind the 3-point line. I'm gonna shoot it, and then that and the game gonna be over, right? And this was James Worthy, who was one of the premier defenders. He was faster than Larry Bird. His arms were longer, and he said Bird said to him, he basically said, "Man, MF, you ain't gonna do nothing." And he said Bird did exactly that. And he said when he ran down the court, he said, "I told you." And got multiple guys said that he was notorious for actually telling you exactly how the play was going to be run. He said how it was going to be set up. They were talking to one of the Lakers, Byron Scott. Byron Scott said Bird told him the whole place. Okay, it was going to do, man. They're going to take the ball out of bounds. I'm going to run a curl. He said they're going to screen you here. You're going to fight through the screen. He was going to another matter. So I'm going to post up right in front of the bench and shoot the three. And that's going to be it. And he said, I'm telling you to the letter, Bird did the play, made the shot, and then looked at him and ran down the court. He said Bird was just, he was a stone cold killer. He was a bad boy.
That he was. I have a question though, Jonathan. You're not getting out of it. Who do you have versus the Miami Heat and the New York Knicks?
Can I say this real quick for Jonathan? The coldest shot that I remember Bird taking was he shot the ball. He was going out of bounds behind the goal and shot it over, and it went in. You know, I like that. When you talk about stroke, that dude was cold, man. But
he was cold. I still didn't like him.
Well, a lot of people didn't like him because a lot of people didn't like Boston.
The question. She tried to change the topic because she didn't like Bird. She didn't like to talk about Bird. That's why she tried.
No. I like talking about him. What I'm saying is, at the time, I didn't like that he was making all of those great shots because he was playing against my Detroit Pistons. But no, I love watching great basketball, regardless of the team that you play for. And Larry Bird was unstoppable. And that was the thing. He truly is a great player. So no, I do like talking about him. I'm just saying that at that time, when he was making all of these great shots against my Pistons, I didn't like him.
Bird just like a bad relationship. That's what it is. It's like that boy or that girl that you like, man, I let that one get away. So Bird brings up them bad feelings. But no, Bird's a great player though. Yeah, Detroit good too. So yeah.
No doubt. I mean, and those teams that played in in that era, they were some of the greatest teams, some of the greatest players ever. So definitely big shout out to Larry Bird, big shout out to the Pistons who did the same thing. They had a battle against the Celtics and finally got over the hump and won not one but two NBA championships, two of them. So kudos to, yes, he surely did. So we got no shade for Detroit, none at all, because they handled their business and did what they had to do. Now, as far as my two picks, I am going to go with the Miami Heat because and it's crazy because when you hear these picks, you're gonna say, bro, didn't you grow up in both of those two places? I did. I grew up as a young guy really rooting against Michael Jordan and the Bulls because I had friends who actually, babysitted for like some of the Knicks players and some of the kids. And one of the key players on the Knicks team, Charles, I can't think of his last name, but he actually came from a town right next to me in Bridgeport. And I always remember, man, he had an opportunity to win a game and he triple clutched and first Jordan blocks his shot and then Pippen blocks his shot and then they end up losing. And I remember talking to him after. He said, hey, man, he said, look, at the end of the day, he said, did I want to make the shot? Sure, I did. He said, but if I go down in history trying to make a game-winning shot being blocked by two of the greatest players in the NBA history, I mean, what am I going to do? So Charles Johnson, that's what his name. Yep. So anyway, I'm going to pick, I want Miami to knock off the Knickerbockers. So I'm picking Miami. And in an upset, as much as I grew up right down the road and used to go to Boston Garden as a collegian and was there for the drafting of Larry Bird, Celtics got to go because they messed around with my boy Trae Young and bullied him. So see ya. So this is a sentimental pick. Miami over the New York Knickerbockers because they keep going F Trae Young. So I'm through with them. And then the same thing with Boston. I'm through with them as well. So I'm taking sentimental picks, Miami Heat to knock off the Knickerbockers and the 76ers, especially with a healthy Embiid to knock off the Boston Celtics. And here's our man Todd. He says Larry was great. His career was ruined by a bad back. Shovel gravel for his mom back in the day on the driveway, and he was never the same. And that's true. Larry Bird talked about his back being bad. And here's another thing. What a lot of people don't remember is, and again, it's always life is coulda, shoulda, but the passing of Len Bias really changed the trajectory of the Celtics and the whole NBA because the Celtics that drafted him that year, and there's no question in my mind, Had Larry Bird been able to turn up with Len Bias, well, we might not be talking about Michael Jordan so much right now. I'm just saying. Because Len Bias was just as good as Mike was. Len Bias was just a bad boy, but evidently was a bad boy off the court, and unfortunately was never able to play in an NBA game. Hey, everybody, look, we got to go to a break. When we come back, we're going to be talking some more sports, including we're going to let you guys take a peek at what it's like on draft day. How you going to do that? Well, you guys keep it locked right here. More of the Real Talk Sports Show, and we'll be back in just a moment. Don't go nowhere.
The day has arrived. It's time to let more people know about your business. You have the right marketing plan and the messaging in place. But do you have the right messenger? Good advertising and promotions need a professional sound so the message can be clearly understood. Don't leave your brand image to chance. Let our team of voiceover experts at CME lend you a hand. Give us a call at 678-304-8121 to find out how we can partner with you to give your business its voice.
Then when he gets in the end zone, he has this little thing going.
John, we've been talking about Darryl Green of the Redskins for a long time.
13 years, as a matter of fact, and every game he plays, he has a lot of fun. He's a great competitor, always takes the toughest receiver, and comes up with the ball a heck of a lot.
And 3 newcomers to the All-Madden team, Tyrone Poole, Philippe Sparks, and Craig Newsom.
Well, I think you need some new guys out there. So we found Tyrone Poole playing for the Carolina Panthers, making big plays against the 49ers. Philippe Sparks of the Giants has turned into one of the real good cover corners in football. And the same with Craig Newsom of the Green Bay Packers. Here's a rookie.
Now hold up. Did I just see that Tyrone Poole made the All-Madden team?
Yeah.
What?
That was
What?
To be honest with you, man, that was real big. And it's like
Real big.
Yeah, John Madden, man. It's like if John Madden gave you his vote of confidence, like he said you were a football player, you were a football player. All this other stuff that people give awards for, nobody cared about. Really, I think people back then, they didn't even care if they had to choose between being acknowledged to making a Pro Bowl or making the All-Madden team. They would rather take the All-Madden team over the Pro Bowl.
I'm just saying. Just saying, bro.
He knew football, man. So everybody, that was respect. But yeah, that was a great honor, man, to be selected. John Madden said, hey, this dude could play on my team. So yeah.
He said we needed some new blood. He said we found somebody to pet Tyrone Poole, making big plays against the 49ers. Not just any team, the 49ers. So big shout out to you, man. Congratulations on that. And that's a big honor. Well, one thing we want to do, guys, when we do this show, we want to make sure to always spotlight, some of the good things that are going on in our community. And we have our very own Ms. Tree Dolman that is going to talk to you a little bit, guys, about what she has going on with her Gray for the Cure, because this is the month of May, that she does what she does. And we're going to let her tell you about it.
Hello, everybody. I just want to talk to you about my nonprofit organization, Go Gray for a Cure, that I started in memory of my beloved husband, Chris Dolman, who passed away from glioblastoma, which is a brain tumor and it's cancerous. And we are having our Go Gray for a Cure second annual 5K this month. We have an in-person event at the Swanee Town Center on May the 13th. We also have a virtual option from May the 13th through May the 27th for anyone who cannot come to the in-person event, and you can still get your t-shirt, your finisher medal, and your race bib. I do want to say a huge thank you to some of our sponsors, the Minnesota Vikings, the Pro Football Hall of Fame, El Shimon Cosmetics and Candles. And I'm really excited about this event. So please register to run or walk virtually. You can sign up. You see the code. You can go to our social media, or you can sign up at runsignup.com/Go Gray for a Cure. You can follow us on social media, all social media at Go Gray for a Cure. And you also can click on the QR code. If you do not want to run or walk, you can always make a donation to Life-Saving Brain Cancer Research and our mission to find a cure for brain cancer. So again, please sign up. Please join us at runsignup.com/Go Gray for a Cure 5K.
Well, certainly we are going to encourage everybody to please, ma'am, please, sir, if you can, but do like me. If you can't walk or you're not able to do it, I'm not saying that I can walk, but I mean, if you don't have the time to do it, you can't get the time off, please do it virtually and send a donation, because every dollar helps to help find the cure. So please, you guys donate to all kind of other things. Just, if your heart leads you to do so, please support the Queen in her great endeavor, so that other people can be saved with your dollars. So Queen, we appreciate you, because for you, this is a labor of love, but I know it's a difficult one, because it's something that struck you, and you basically, literally, not to be redundant with catchphrases, but you have in fact in real time turned your pain into purpose. So we salute you, and we salute the organization that you have here, and we'll do everything we can to try to support them. I'm gonna flash up on the screen one more time, guys. Here it is. You can see it's an in-person 5K that is going to be next Saturday, the 13th. You also can do the virtual 5K, and you can do that every day for the next 2 weeks, starting with the 13th. You have to go to the Gray for Cure website to actually do the full scanning, because I don't know if the scanner will work on just that short portion there, but there it is, and there's all the information, guys. So please, be a part of that if you can. Well, guys, the other big thing that's been going on has been the NFL draft. Once again, the palooza of NFL sports, almost as big as the Super Bowl now, as far as the number of people kind of outside the game, even just attracted to this now 3-day extravaganza, where young men who applied their trade in college football now finally getting to see their dreams come true by actually walking up to the podium and putting a bear hug on Roger Goodell right after Roger gets booed and they get cheered. We're saying, so what we want to do tonight is a couple of things. Number one, we're going to obviously at some point talk about our Falcons, because we have a good friend who has been all over the place. He's been in the war room, and he's going to give us like really kind of a bird's eye view of what the Falcons did during their draft. Also, I know Mr. Poole, they're not necessarily be put on the spot, but we do want to get some feedback from him, because Tyrone actually in real time, as a first round draft pick experience, it wasn't as big as it is today, but he actually experienced that. So we want to get his comments on that. And also, hopefully, before the broadcast ends, we're going to have a unique view from a mom of a draftee. And not only that, but a wife of a draftee. We're going to have Candace Mitchell back on. She's going to talk to us a little bit about how cool it is that her son was drafted as well. So hopefully she'll be able to join us by the end of the broadcast. Obviously, she's got a lot going on with that. But he's back. He is the embedded beat writer for AJC Sports for the Atlanta Falcons. And he is a great man, a guy who spends a lot of his time giving back to the community, and he is Esquire par excellence. And from time to time, he wears a bad fedora. You know what I'm talking about? D. Orlando Ledbetter is back in the building. D-Led, what's up?
Hey, not too much, Reverend. Been out on the grind here last month or so. Getting ready for the draft. Glad it's over.
They got the fishing hat on now, bro. He's like, I gotta take a time out. I gotta pull out this in that water for a second and just take a woosah.
No doubt.
Well, man, first of all, what's it like to be in that war room, when all this stuff is going on? Because, you are one of the few writers that actually get a chance to kind of get a bird's eye view. So, I mean, is it just chaos, or is it controlled aggression? Kind of what's going on up there in Flowery Branch when this is happening?
Well, I go back to when the draft was one day. this made for TV stuff, nobody's in Kansas City or wherever the draft is being held. The main people are at their team's facilities. We call it the Nerve Center, where the decision making is being made. The whole thing in Kansas City is a made for TV show. And they don't even have people there. They just send the picks in electronically. And it's more for, the folks that they got to make the team. I don't even know what they're celebrating for. They're not getting any money just because they got drafted. Some of them are. But it's ridiculous. But the fans love it. They're expanding the game, and so more power to the NFL.
All right, guys. Questions for D-Led about what he saw, or even Falcons pick. Before we do that, I'm gonna go to social media real quick. I was text this, and he's been peppering me on this about D-Led's comments about the Falcons spent about $20 million in the draft, and it seemed like the Falcons are maybe trying to, I don't know, not answer the question, but Todd says, D-Led, is it true the Falcons spent $20 million for their draft?
No, Todd misunderstood my question. I had heard that Pat Kerwin on NFL XM radio said it cost $20 million to build a draft board. And so I'm working on a story on how much does it cost to build a draft board. And so I asked them about it. And I just thought that was kind of high. But when you look at the scouts, and they've been going around the country all year long and going to study 300 different kids and so forth, you flying crisscrossing the country to work people out, that number might be accurate. So that wasn't just a Falcon thing. That's a kind of generic, how much does it cost to build a draft board? And I'll hear from Bill Polian, Scott Pioli, Thomas Dimitroff, and I already got the Falcons people. We're going to hear from Kyle Smith tomorrow just on how much they actually spend to get a third of the picks right, because that's what the record is. You're not going to hit on all the picks. You're only going to get like a third of them right. I'll take my hat off so you can see me. But yeah, so yeah, it's expensive getting ready for the draft, and then you still might be wrong.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, it's the truth. I mean, you just don't know. It's a crapshoot, and teams pick them. So, Tyrone, questions or comments for D. Orlando Ledbetter, sir?
D-Leg, good to see you again.
Likewise.
Yes, sir. Right now, projected, they have quarterback Ritter at the quarterback spot. Of course, they brought in Tyler Haneke. Robinson, of course, running back. He's going to step right in. I think he's going to actually be a big help for Ritter to actually, kind of put himself into that starting position. But when you look at the starting lineup, Ritter, Robinson, Drake London, wide receiver, Hollis, wide receiver, Miller, wide receiver, tight end, Pitts. How close is that of a projection for the starting opening day roster for the Atlanta Falcons? Or do you think Tyler Haneke can come in and Ritter's going to struggle? But how close do you think that starting lineup I just named, from the quarterback to the wide receivers and tight end?
Yeah, I like all that except for Hollins at wide receiver. I'm a advocate of moving Cordero Patterson back to wide receiver. So you could have him playing the Deebo Samuel role in what's going to be a run-heavy offense. You could give him some of those tough sweeps and stuff that they give to Deebo. So you really have three running backs, Keith Smith and Robinson and Algier, rotating them at tailback. And then, you got some power at the wide receiver to throw him some short stuff so he can make some catches or run it with him. This isn't going to be an offense that's going to sling it down the field with Desmond Ritter at the controls. So you're going to have to run it a lot like the 49ers, those short passes, short and accurate, get it in the playmaker's hands and let them do some work.
One more question before I give it to Tree. With Robinson again coming into the fold, you and I know that football will always be played in the trenches. You win and lose in the trenches. So with Robinson coming in, and if he holds up, because I know as a rookie, they call it that rookie wall. He's gonna hit that rookie wall. He just don't know it yet, but a lot of people don't know what that rookie wall means, but it just means the NFL season is longer than the college football season. So your body has been used to those 4 years of college football. Then you get into the pros, your body starts to shut it down at week whatever. But yeah, that's that rookie wall. But do you think with Robinson coming into the fold, being explosive, got good speed, good agility, do you think Ritter, the Falcons offense, will go to more of a play action to kind of get Desmond Ritter more consistency and dump off passes every once in a while when the defense allows it, try to throw deep and go over the top. How do you see them using Ritter with the addition of Robinson?
Yeah, a lot of pistol, some of the old West Coast Kyle Shanahan rollouts and bootlegs and so forth with the tight ends coming across and then slipping another one back, Jonnu Smith up through the backside. A lot of the 49ers type West Coast stuff, not the West Coast that Arthur ran with Derrick Henry, which was, a lot of power. But yeah, a lot of misdirection, a lot of short passes, and then boom, the only person they have that can hit them over the top will be Scotty Miller. So he's got a chance to play a big role in this thing too. But yeah, you got to run Scott. You got to run Drake London and Kyle Pitts off each other. The old rub routes, all that kind of stuff they do with Kittle and Deebo Samuels. I think we're going to see a lot of that here with the Falcons.
I think you're right. Well, I'm going to do this before Tree hops on here. We got a guy in the green room. He is a good friend of the show. We haven't seen him for a while because he has been everywhere and anywhere, but we're going to bring him in because at some point we're going to talk to him about his opinion on a guy he covered for a long time. You know what I'm talking about? The guy that does pops and sports. Brian Jones is back. Mr. Jones, welcome back, sir.
Long time no see. How's everyone doing?
All right.
How are you, Brian?
Doing pretty good.
Well, Brian, before I jump in, Tree, do you have a question or comment for D. Orlando Ledbetter?
Yes, I have two, actually. My first question, now that the Atlanta Falcons has Calais Campbell on their roster and after the draft, do you think that they have enough pieces on the defense to be one of the top 10 defenses in the league this year?
I don't think they go from 29 to top 10, Tree. I want to see them, just get in the top 16 for now.
Okay. That's definitely reasonable. Second question that I have, during the draft, were you hearing anything about Jaden Hunter, who started out at the University of Georgia and then transferred to Western Kentucky? He didn't get drafted, but were you hearing anything about him?
No, he did not show up. Give me a position. I could double check on our position by position chart.
I believe he's defensive end. I know he plays defense.
Well, yeah, no, he didn't show up in our we had a list of all of the top defensive ends, and we did our top 10, and then we had some on the fringes guys. I would have came across him if he had got a combine invite or if he was in our list of the top 20 defensive ends. So he's on the outside of that, but the Falcons just took D'Angelo Malone from there. Mm-hmm. So he's still probably getting a look from a lot of the scouts.
Okay.
That's a good program at Western Kentucky.
Yeah.
Brian Jones, before we talk to you a little about other things in the NFL, like your guy, Mr. Aaron Rodgers, any comments or questions for D-Led about what's going on with the Falcons?
Yeah, and I know everyone's talking about Bijan Robinson, and rightfully so, but I think the draft pick that stood out with me is Zach Harrison out of Ohio State. So, D-Led, I just want to get your thoughts on him and how do you see him making an impact with the edge rush rotation this upcoming fall?
Yeah, Brian, he's a Buckeye, suburban Columbus Buckeye 5-star recruit. Didn't do too much there at Ohio State. Came on a little bit in the last 2 years. Had a good game against Georgia in the playoffs, but reminds me of an old Buckeye when I covered him. His name was Alonzo Spellman. He played in the league with the Bears, but 6'6", just looked like he should just be tearing up backfields, and it just never happened. And same thing here with Harrison, 5-star out of Columbus. He stayed home, supposed to be a game wrecker, but he just never did. So being with Calais Campbell and Bud Dupree for a year, he'll hopefully learn some tricks of the trade and turn into a better pro than he was as a college football player.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm interested in also, and this is a guy that when I heard about him, I said Tyrone might like this guy. Talk to us a little bit about the young man they drafted at the cornerback position. Everybody's saying undersized, but they said this guy knows how to stick like glue.
Clark Phillips the third. He was also a Buckeye commit, but when the coaches moved around, he went to Utah. Only problem I have with him is the 4.5 140 in the at the combine. So I thought that's why he lasted to the fourth round, because everybody's saying he's a first round guy. Well, they didn't take him in the first round because he ran slow. So the Falcons, I said, hey, I gave them a chance to tell us that they had a better time than that. They didn't want to share it, but they had him faster than the 4.51, and they wanted to know if I asked him what's his fastest 40 time. So I'll do that at the next meeting, hopefully at the rookie minicamp next week. But yeah, nothing but good things about the guy. The fans seem to like him, but like I say, I don't 4.51 in the slot. It's gonna be some people running away from him if he's playing that slow.
Well, Tyrone, I know you have more speed than that, but talk to us a little bit about how you overcome size with football intelligence and strength. Because that's the other thing he says. He's a strong guy, and I know you were a very strong guy in your playing days. Matter of fact, strong now for that matter.
But I'm glad you gave me an opportunity to answer that question, because this is the misnomer, and D later understand exactly where I'm coming from. All right, a lot of people look at my height. That was the only thing I was lacking. Right? When I look at my numbers, when you go to the combines, I went to the combines. They get your handprint, they get your arm span. They told me that my arm span was that of a 6 foot corner. Okay. And you have a lot of 6 foot corners. They have like little short arms, right? But my arm span was that of a 6 foot corner. So when you put that in with the ability to do 225, 22 times, then, I can get up and I can press. My vertical was like, I think 39. I broke the Falcons three cone record. Ken Herrock. I still got him on video saying that, he slips right here and still breaks a record. So the height was the only thing that was not there. So my vertical, and then these scouts being smart enough, they understand the only time this person going to get in a situation where their height is probably going to be a negative is probably when you get down in the red zone and 5 yard line. But you know what play is coming. So what is the percentage that a team is going to get down there inside the 5 yard every time and throw a fade route? So we're going to bank that most of the routes will run from 0 to 20 yards out. You're going to get more of those routes than you're going to get the fade route. So we're going to take our chances and play off of his ability because of the routes that are run. So when I look at the height, really, when I tell defensive backs, it ain't about the 40. The 40 is just a cherry on top, okay? Really, the game at cornerback is played with your feet and your hips, and like you said, Jonathan, your mind, because you got to have that burst. If you are banking on your 40, that means you're getting beat a lot. Now, the 40 is good to make up, but if you use your feet and your hips and your burst, the routes are from 0 to 20 yards out, people. About 90-something% of the routes that NFL receiver run are from 0 to line of scrimmage to 20 yards out. The number of deep balls, probably about 2 or 3 deep balls a game. You don't believe me? Check it out. Count the number of deep balls they just sit up and throw, okay? You probably going to get 2 or 3. The rest of them are 0 to 20 yards out. So height really doesn't matter unless you get up and press. And if your arms ain't long enough, then yes, you'll get in trouble. But if you can get your arms on them and you got the strength, then height really doesn't play, too big of a factor. Now, they may try to swim you, but if you get your arms on them, then basically they just opening themselves up for you to get them up on their shoulder pads and jack them up. But you got to have that mentality.
What you guys have just watched was an instruction manual from how to play the cornerback position. I think Mr. Phillips, in essence, what Tyrone was saying, D-Let, I think there's a lot of stuff that you guys saw in some of the other guys are talking about. This guy, Phillips, he, first of all, like Tyrone, very confident, and it allowed him to take risk and make some big plays. I don't know if that's what the Falcons are looking for, a guy that can be a game changer in that backfield. I'm not sure. It was going to be very interesting. Well, speaking of a game changer, after a long, I do mean a long, drawn-out procedure, Aaron Rodgers, a guy that Brian has covered a lot in the last 4 or 5 years, is now going to be wearing a different color green. It's going to be Kelly Green of the Jets. Brian, what do you know about that? And do you think that Rodgers is going to be able to do as advertised and get the Jets to deep in the postseason next year?
Well, yeah, you're right. This has been a long, drawn-out process. This has really been something that's been going on for the last 2 or 3 off seasons. You know, Aaron Rodgers has flirted with retirement, um, just um, just asking, not really asking for a trade or anything like that, but just not very uncertain about his future. And then when he went on the Pat McAfee show like a little over a month ago, he said his intention was to play for the Jets, and the process took long just because the Jets wanted to make sure that Aaron Rodgers, or to protect themselves just in case Aaron Rodgers only plays 1 season. And I think he's going to play at least 2, but we'll have to wait and see. I think this is a good move for both the Packers and the Jets, more so the Packers because of what they got in return, and they use that to add depth to some key positions, specifically tight end and edge rushers. So we'll just have to wait and see when it comes to how Jordan Love can produce. He was able to learn under Aaron Rodgers over the last few years. So hopefully he can take what he's learned and put it out on the field and be successful. As for Rodgers with the Jets, I don't think they're going to ask him to do a whole lot. The Jets feel like they finally found their quarterback after years and years and years of searching. But Aaron Rodgers obviously isn't the same guy he was 10 years ago. But as long as he can produce the way he produced last year, and last year wasn't that great, then the Jets feel like they have something there. As for can he be what Tom Brady was when he went to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I'm not sure because the AFC East is going to be competitive, especially with the Buffalo Bills and the Miami Dolphins, those 2 teams being on top. But I think Aaron Rodgers will be fine. They're not going to ask him to do a whole lot. He's there with the Jets right now, working out with the OTAs and things like that. So I think he'll do okay. I think he has a chance to get them to the playoffs. But as for a Super Bowl, we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, definitely gonna be very interesting to see kind of what all happens with Rodgers. Jets have, as usual, when these kind of things happen, spent a lot of draft capital, so we're gonna see what kind of goes on. All right, the other question out there is, speaking of quarterbacks, 250 big ones. The Ravens have finally pulled the trigger, and Lamar Jackson is now the highest paid player in the NFL. All right, what do you guys think about that? Let's go to Brian first. Good move for the Ravens. Is he worth the money?
I think he is. I think based on what he's done these last few seasons and what he's done for the Ravens these last few seasons, I think he is worth the money. And I think him being his own agent eventually paid off at the end when it comes down to it. So, I think injuries are going to be a concern, but that's something that every quarterback almost or every player has to deal with. But I think ultimately being back with the Ravens is good for Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. And I think that's something that both sides wanted. I think just ultimately Lamar Jackson wanted to get what he felt like what he was worth. And I think based on what he's done these last few years, I think he's worth every penny. I know it's a lot of money, but at the same time, that's just how the quarterback position is, because the quarterback position, at least right now, is the most important position in the NFL. And while some people may think he's overpaid, there's going to be more quarterbacks down the road that's going to be asking for that same type of money, at least close to it. So I think based on what Lamar Jackson has done over these last few seasons, I think this is a good move for him, and I think it's a good move for the Ravens, and hopefully he can stay healthy these next few seasons and do some good things with the squad, the team.
D-Led, good signing for the Ravens. Is he worth the money?
Yeah, Reverend, no doubt. Daniel Jones got $40 million. So Lamar's 46-12 in the regular season. MVP, needs to play better in the playoffs. Needs to diversify his game a little bit. Stop running so much, read some defenses, throw some passes. Worth the money. And we'll see those numbers be eclipsed here in the next 12 months by Burrow and Justin Herbert.
Tree Dolman, your thoughts? Good signing, and is he worth the money?
I do think it's a good signing, and I do think he's worth the money. The Baltimore Ravens have built the team around him. He works well with what they have going on. His numbers produce. So, yes, definitely worth the money.
Mr. Tyrone Poole, your thoughts? Is it worth the money? Good signing for the Ravens.
Yeah, everybody said something that was very valuable, even from D-Led, which I agree. Now that he's making that money, people want to see him throw that ball now. He's being paid to be a quarterback now. So you add in his ability to run, okay, that's good. But now we want to see you get us to a Super Bowl consistently now. And just like Tree said, yeah, he's worth the money because they built the offense around him. So, of course, he's worth the money. But I want to but I want to bring this up. A lot of people talked about him doing his own deal. Me personally, I don't think he was the only one doing it. I think he probably hired some people to look over the paperwork, but I'm not going to hire an agent per se. But also, I think what this does, him representing himself, it opens Lamar Jackson up to being an agent himself if he chooses to, because he can easily recruit these kids and tell them, I signed my own deal. So, I know what's going on. Plus, I know based from a player standpoint, what you need. So not only is it good that he kind of did his deal, which I think he has some other people helping him, but he just put his name on it as his own agent, but it opens him up doors to do things life after football.
Well, yeah, I agree. Definitely the guy's worth the money. His stats go for, like D-Led said, guy is a former MVP. The guy's one of the most electric players in the NFL, and he's a guy that has a lot of upside. And certainly, it looks like the Ravens are doing what they can to give him some additional weapons. You got Zay Flowers, a young man coming out of Boston College. He's one of the top-ranked receivers. A lot of people thought he'd go in the top 10 in the first round. Like picked him up at 22. And if we can even get, I would say, 85 to 90% of Odell Beckham, OBJ. Yeah, he's got himself some weapons now. And, of course, the Ravens are going to play good defense. They were a little shaky last year, but traditionally they play pretty good defense. So I think it's definitely a good move as well. All right, we got a question here for D-Led from our man Todd. And, of course, a lot of folks ask this who live in Georgia. They go, what on earth happened to why the Falcons ain't draft no Georgia boys? Especially this guy right here, Nolan Smith on the edge. Great character guy. A very good player coming off the edge. Why do you think that the Falcons passed on Mr. Nolan Smith, D-Led?
He wasn't the top 8 player in the draft. So by the time they get around to 44, they have to trade up to 38 to get the guard that Dallas was trying to take at 26. And then Nolan's gone by then. He's gone at 30 something there to New England, to Philly. But yeah, that's they liked him, but not as a top 10 player. The real issue is why they passed on Jalen Carter, who was the best player on the board. I'm a best player available guy, but we've gone over Jalen's case here. Ad infinitum with the regards to not so much his role in the craft, but his work ethic issues. And, being so close to Athens probably wouldn't have been a good thing for the Falcons. But he's got a good landing place. He's got his guys around him, got some leaders up there. And, what's the kid the best? Would have been awesome if they took him and built an environment for him to thrive in right next to Grady Jarrett. In 5 years, if Bijan is the next LaDainian or Barry Sanders, we won't really care much. If Jalen turns into the next Warren Sapp and the Eagles are winning Super Bowls, there's going to be a bad looking draft here. So, you just can't tell right now. But if he turns into Warren Sapp, the Falcons will have picked the wrong guy.
But
I think. Go ahead, Tyrone.
I think back when the Philadelphia Eagles, talking about the Philadelphia Eagles, when they had Reggie, Brown, and they had Reggie White. Brown and Reggie White. Just think Jerome Brown had not, had
Killed
the
himself. Yeah, car accident.
Woo! Just imagine Reggie
It-
White and Brown. Oh my!
And they had Claude Simmons and Golick too. That was up front.
That's right. Well, D-Led, you get the ultimate compliment from Todd after going back and forth a few times. He now realizes, sir, that you are a national treasure, and he said, "Please get some sleep and don't get worn out." So Todd throwing some great
Thank you,
kudos.
Todd. Thank you. I got a couple more papers to grade, and then I can go take some rest.
Well, speaking of rest, this lady that we're about to bring on is, I don't know how she does it. She does like about 19 different things. She's a mom. She's head of one of the top football organizations in the country. And she's not just any mom. She is now the mom of a draft pick for the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, the
We're
ECU
bringing on,
tailback.
you know who, the lovely Miss Candace Mitchell is back on our show. Welcome back.
Hi, everyone.
Well,
how you
sister?
doing?
I know you've been running and running. How are you?
Oh, it's been so busy, but I'm doing well. How you guys doing?
All right.
All right.
Good.
Well, we wanted to let people kind of get an inside pick here. Well, first of all, congratulations for Keaton being drafted by the Ravens. And now, how cool is that for
ECU
the Ravens to get
tailback.
him?
It's been really exciting. So they picked him up as an undrafted free agent, and it was like deja vu, the exact same experience that his father went through. So I remember his dad, I guess this was 20 some odd years ago, his dad and I were at my parents' house, and he was getting phone calls. Sit tight, we're going to pick you up. Here we come. Keaton went through the same exact thing. So it was just, it was heart-wrenching, just waiting. And then that last name was called, and, but we already knew kind of what was in the works with Baltimore. So we just kind of stood by and just waited for him to announce it when he was comfortable. So.
Well, that's incredible. Guys, I have a question because, like I said, this is kind of Tyrone and Candace, the only people that actually experienced the draft in real time. So questions for Miss Mitchell. D-Led, questions for her or comments?
Yeah, we're following your son and with the bios, and I think he was at the Falcons local day and so forth. So congratulations and the best of luck because he's in a good situation with a great franchise.
Yeah, Baltimore is
No, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't have any questions. Just congratulations.
Thank you. Baltimore is an amazing organization, and just from personal experience with the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Baltimore Ravens, and the Cincinnati Bengals with Keaton's dad. The Baltimore Ravens were high class all the way. Not saying that the others weren't, but the Baltimore Ravens definitely stood out with their previous ownership, and then also with Bisciotti coming in, like at the tail end of Anthony's career. We just totally love the Ravens organization, and it's just so exciting and fitting for Keaton to be a part of that organization. He was just a baby the last time we were in Baltimore, so we're just excited for him.
That's cool stuff. Brian Jones.
Oh, I just want to say congratulations. I think that's so exciting. It has to be great. I know that that phone call had to be just overwhelming. So again, congratulations and good luck to him.
Thank you. I'll pass it on.
Oh yeah.
And I say this, Candace, words of wisdom that I can tell you to get a Keaton. Because free agents, even doing mini camp, okay, he probably get a lot of reps doing mini camp because they're not going to have everybody there, right? But then once he come back for training camp, now you bring the veterans back, so his reps are going to cut down. The best advice that I can give to you to give to him is from mini camp to training camp. He needs to find a backup quarterback, a backup tight end, a backup wide receiver, and he needs to crash that playbook with them. So guys that have already been there, so they can bring him up to speed as fast as possible. Because number one, even though they are veteran running backs, they still gonna fear him. Because as we would say, older guys, when they bring in the young guy, he's taking food off my table. So it's gonna be imperative that he get into that playbook and he learn everything, because he may not get maybe 2 or 3 reps in a practice during training camp. But those 3 reps, he got to show excitement. Okay, and even when it comes to the preseason game, he may not play into the 4th quarter, whatever the case may be. But if he know that playbook, he knows where everybody's supposed to be, and that's how he gonna make his impact. And they're gonna say, "Hey, wow, we got to keep this kid," and that's how you do it. So I've seen it done time in and time out. You got to get a hold to that guy who's a veteran, not the starter, but they worried about themselves. Find that backup, because he want to make the team just as much as Keaton want to do. And don't try to find another running back, because you're bumping heads. Okay, find that wide receiver, that tight end, or the backup quarterback, and they will help you as much as you need to be helped. I learned that firsthand, being a defensive back. Them older guys, they didn't want to help me. The defensive guys, that's what I thought I should go to. Let me go to the corners, right? Hey, Tim Micaiah, he was still playing. Hey, Tim, you help me, man. What are they asking me to do right here? Tim would give me half of the information. Oh, yeah, you know, they telling you to do this, because he knew he brought me in there to take his position. So I had to learn the hard way. Let me go find me a safety. Hey, Brett Max, what am I supposed to do here? Oh, this is what you're supposed to do. And then on top of that, when you do that, do this right here, and then do this. So that's why I learned, and I'm sharing that information with you. Tell Keaton to find somebody who plays the opposite position and teach him that playbook.
Yeah, I definitely will. That's some great advice, and I appreciate that, Tyrone. I'm gonna pass that along. So.
But it's got to really be something, though, to kind of see, like you said, everything come full circle. And it seems like the NFC North likes that, because we know that Joey Porter's son was drafted by Pittsburgh. So how important is it, do you think, to some of these teams that there is that DNA, and the fact that, you know, hey, look, his dad played in the organization, you know, his mom was a star athlete, she's actually been a coach. I mean, how much do you think, outside, obviously your son is tremendously talented, I mean, but how much more do you think that kind of let them feel comfortable with bringing him to the Baltimore organization?
Well, I definitely don't think that it hurt him or anyone else that's in that situation. It first and foremost, you all know those athletes have to earn that right to even be considered, you know. And so I think that Keaton has done the work on the field. He put in, the work for teams to even show interest. But, you know, it's like once you become a part of an organization, it's like family, you know. And so if that kid has earned a right to even be a part of the conversation, perhaps that familiarity with that family helps that decision go over a little bit better. I do know that, you know, Anthony is well respected, you know, with all the different organizations that he's played with. Bisciotti and Ozzie, they have great relationships with him. You know, just like the kid that went to Dallas, his dad being right there in that war room there. You never know what those conversations really go like, you know. So, but first and foremost, much respect to the athletes who even earned the right to be a part of those conversations. And so, you know, I think that Anthony's history, you know, my history, you can't lie on genetics. You know, the kid's got some talent from his mom and dad. And, you know, I think that the decision makers in the room knew that, and they looked at his film and they felt like he'd be a great fit. You know, Baltimore didn't have a whole lot of picks, and they didn't pick a running back. This is probably the best situation that could have worked out for him. So, you know, I feel like it was in God's hand and part of the plan. And so we're just appreciative and very proud of Keaton, and thankful to the Ravens for giving him a shot.
Just so that you know, folks, when she talks about, my son just is not DNA earned this here, what you're going to see flash up on the screen in just a second here, these numbers that you see right there, those are his numbers. That's 228 attempts total, 704 yards from scrimmage, averaging 7.5 yards a carry. So, it's not just DNA, baby. He got some skills on the field. He's got averaged 7.1 yards a carry on the ground on 201 attempts, 1,452 yards, 7.2 yards a carry. And he also had 27 receptions for 252 yards, another 9.3 yards average per reception. So yeah, this is a guy that is a dual threat back. Could be an outstanding receiver and an outstanding running back. Gives you some lightning fast speed. So who knows? We might see another Mitchell blazing across the screen in the not too distant future. So yeah, definitely cool stuff. We hope at one point in time that we might be able to stop him for just a second and kind of get his actual words on, kind of making this move into the NFL. So hopefully when things slow down for him, he makes the team. I can say, hey man, your mom be on our show. Can you come on for a second?
Right. Yeah, he definitely earned it. And for a kid that split, he split opportunities on the field with another back who was just as talented. His stats really spoke volumes. I mean, out of all college running backs, it didn't matter. The level he led out of all college running backs to have 54 carries with 10 or more yards. To be number one with such a powerful stat, it speaks volume to his talent.
No doubt.
And splitting carries.
See how mom emphasized, hey, my boy didn't even get all the carries. Okay, so you all know what time it is. And listen, I wish you would have replayed. There's a famous tweet that Candace put out when her son, that might have been a bowl game or something, but he had broke loose and scored a touchdown. I thought to myself, you're going to have to put a parachute because Candace got all of the flashbacks. She must have jumped about 5 feet off the floor. I thought she was going to grab some pom-poms. She was just going wild. Like, well, Candace, you all right? So, yeah, definitely a proud mom. And we're just, again, very excited for you, very excited for him. And we hope again, that we'll see him on Sundays in the NFL. So definitely good stuff. Definitely good stuff.
I appreciate it.
So real quick, before we get back into more football here, because yes, guys, we have some bonus time because we wanted to talk about this draft. What do you have going on with Football USA and some of the things that you guys have coming up? Because I know there's a lot of talk going on with flag football and women. So give us a little update on what's cooking.
Yeah, some of the most recent stuff with USA Football is our tournaments, our sanctioned tournament leading up to what we call the One, which is like the ultimate championship. And this is the international format. We're playing 5-on-5s, just giving kids and adults an opportunity to showcase their best talent on the flag football field and have an opportunity to be scouted to earn a position for Team USA to represent their country. We actually just named a team not too long ago who will be competing in the International Junior Cup and then also in America's Continental coming up this summer. So we're really excited about that. But if there's anybody that's got a team out there that you're interested, get a part of that sanctioned tournament cycle that we have going on, that whole series. And we hope to see you at the One in Charlotte. And we're just excited about the future with USA Football and the potential for flag football to be in the Olympics.
Tree, what do you think about the women coming out playing some ball and maybe getting that flag football into the Olympics? Can we get you off to retirement? I saw you had some skills at the Football Hall of Fame. I'm just saying, y'all didn't see that clip, but she went out did a square out with some heels and went bam.
Yeah, that was in Dallas at Charles Haley's event. But I will not be coming out of retirement. But I am happy to hear that they may possibly do that. That would be phenomenal. We know that the flag football game is really growing for men and women and young children and the young kids. And I think that it's great.
Yeah. Guys, Candace, a question about the flag football. Two questions, a two-part question. When do you expect the NCAA to say, okay, flag football is going to be an official sport in the NCAA? Right now in NAIA, they have accepted it. And so what are your thoughts about that? I might have asked you this question before, but just because we're talking about it again, viewers, but what are your thoughts on that? How long would it be before we see scholarships being given in the NCAA level for flag football?
Well, it's definitely on their radar, and we at USA Football, being the national governing body of the sport of football, including flag football, we're leading the way with what the NCAA calls as the emerging sport. So we are interested in leading the pathway to getting that application submitted. But this isn't something it's definitely not a sprint process. a marathon process, and it involves a lot of data. Universities, programs committing to having either club or varsity level. I think that once an announcement is made on if flag football will be an Olympic sport, it could help expedite the process. But USA Football is looking at some unique ways to present to the NCAA to get something going as far as getting flag football considered as a varsity sport on the NCAA level. And so we're going to start small scale, whether we're looking regionally or to specific conferences, for everybody to have an opportunity to showcase talent that is there. It's definitely wanted. The talent is there. It's growing like wildfire on the high school level, and that's going to limit the opportunities for the girls, because only so many NAIA schools can take on these girls that are playing in high school. And then every month or so you see another state coming on board, officially sanctioning girls flag football on the high school level, New York being the most recent. They're going to take it up in 2024. So we're just really excited about where it's going. And I think that we're really going to need the help of the NCAA to help take on that influx of girls who want to play flag football on the next level. But I expect to see it within the next 5 to 7 years, if not before that.
There's a lot of good stuff out there happening. So if you guys are following sports, remember we try to bring you all the little things that are going on around here in Metro Atlanta, and even places outside of Metro Atlanta. All right, you know how you guys do it. We're getting ready to wrap up. We want each of you to kind of tell people what you got going on. So Miss Mitchell, since we just had you, please let people know how they can follow you, social media and/or website. Miss Candace Mitchell, the floor is yours.
Yes, you can find me at KP Mitchell 51. Hit me up, and I always interact with people. I'm very open, and we can get some things going.
That's what I'm talking about. Miss Mitchell, until the next time, God bless, and don't be a stranger.
Absolutely not. I always appreciate you guys for bringing me on.
Have a blessed one. Mr. Brian Jones, now I know you have stuff going on both in the world of sports and outside the world of sports. So, Mr. Brian Jones, the floor is yours.
I appreciate it. I am I'm sports and entertainment writer for popculture.com. You can always find my work at popculture.com or popculture.com/sports. I recently interviewed the cast of the movie Big George Foreman, including the heavyweight champ himself. All those interviews are on our YouTube page, and you can go find my stories that I wrote on those cast members on popculture.com and popculture.com/sports. This weekend specifically, I'll be heading to Puerto Rico to cover WWE SmackDown and Backlash, and then just do a story about how Puerto Rico is trying to host bigger sporting events. You can find all that next week on popculture.com. You can follow me on Twitter. That's at Brian Jones _93. And then you can follow me on Instagram as well. And I'll post some stories and interviews on there in the coming days or so. And that's at Brian _L_Jones.
And you guys see it right there in the ticker. There you go. You can follow him right there. And before you go, Brian, listen now, the next time you go into PR, man, I can travel. I can pack light. I can travel. Just saying. Man, listen, we appreciate you. We appreciate you, man, and definitely kudos on the George Foreman. That's going to be I saw some highlights. Looks like it's going to be a really great program, and man, to actually interview the champ himself must have been phenomenal.
It really was, and I think it was really great to talk to him, and he looks really good for someone who's 74 years old. So that was one of my favorite interviews, definitely.
Well, Brian Jones, as always, man, we appreciate you, and God bless, and same thing, don't be a stranger, bro.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it.
All right. P. Orlando Ledbetter, Esquire Park Salons, the floor is now yours.
Yes, thank you, Reverend. You can find me on Twitter at DOrlandoAJC, on Instagram, DOrlandoLed, and our Facebook page is Atlanta Falcons News Now. Just want to share with the group that last week I was nominated to be the Bill Nunn Junior Memorial Award by the PFWA.
Oh,
Hall of Fame
All right,
in Canton, Ohio. To the reporter who has made a long and distinguished contribution to pro football. So I don't know if I'm a win, but it sure is great being nominated, and just wanted to share that with y'all because y'all put up with me, and thank y'all for having me on the show. Real Talk Sports.
It is well deserved, sir. And man, we hope that you get it. And here we go, guys. If you guys are watching, there it is right there. You can follow him on Twitter at @TheOrlandoLed or on excuse me, Instagram. Oh, there it is. There it is. There it is right there. The cute dog is in the building. All right, D-Led, man. Till the next time, brother. We appreciate you so much. God
Peace.
bless and
Thank
peace.
you.
Bye, D-Led.
All right, Mr. Tyrone Poole, the floor is yours.
Very simple, very quick. Tyrone Poole, 38 all social media. So good being here. You guys have a great rest of your night, and everybody be safe.
Tyrone Poole, #1 first round draft pick of the Carolina Panthers. He's a bad man. Tyrone Poole. Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Miss Tree Doman, the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. Don't forget that this is May. It's Brain Cancer, Brain Tumor Awareness Month. Please go to runsignup.com/Go Great for a Cure 5K, or you can go to all of our social media, which is Go Great for a Cure, and you can sign up or make a donation to walk or run for our 5K. We're raising funds for life-saving brain cancer research. You can find me on all social media at Purple Diva 13, as well as Ms. America International 2022.
The Queen has spoken. All right, guys, we appreciate all the viewers. I always tell you, it's always great that you guys come in and lock in. They have banned me temporarily off of Facebook. We hope to be back on there next time. And we do appreciate those of you who jumped on YouTube from Facebook. So again, appreciate you. And listen, I want to also give you guys a big shout out. Those of you guys who watch on the replay, because I mean, I know a lot of our views come as on-demand views. So man, we're very appreciative of you. Please continue to follow us anywhere on social media at, that's our sponsor. Follow us anywhere on social media at Real Talk Sports, the number 7. And you also can follow me personally at Minister J. Sim. You got to do some more inspirational stuff because I am, in fact, a real life preacher of the gospel. And so before I leave this broadcast, I want to encourage you, please, man, please, sir, if you do not know the Lord Jesus Christ, your personal Savior, get to know him today. Why? A couple of reasons. Number 1, he loves you. Number 2, he died for you, but he rose from the dead. So I got good news for you. If, in fact, you repent of your sins and you believe that, 2 fantastic things happen. Number 1, you become a citizen of the kingdom of heaven. And number 2, you become an adopted child of God with all the rights therein. That means you now can go to God like a loving parent, asking for anything that you need or desire, and he'll give it to you. And number 2, if and when you die, you go to that wonderful place called heaven where there's no pain, no pandemic, no bad people anywhere. It's beautiful and sunny. You never get old. You never die. And you get a chance to see Jesus Christ and God and everybody face to face. How cool is that? And all the people that love God and most of the people that love you. And you avoid that nasty place called hell, where all the things I mentioned in heaven will not be in hell. So it's dark, it's dreary, it stinks, it's painful, bad people everywhere. And most of all, you cut off from God, Jesus Christ, and all the people of love forever and a day. I don't know about you, but I like option number 1 instead of option number 2. All right, guys, until the next time when we see you again, or you just see me in the road like you do from time to time, God bless you and have a wonderful rest of your day or evening, whichever may apply. So long.